Welcome to Attaining the Worlds Beyond. Today we're discussing chapter 17, Merging with the Creator. It's been a very interesting read, and as a matter of fact, we have started having the conversation privately on this subject because it is awesome. And for those of you out there, when you watch this video, there will be a link to chapter 17. We urge you to read it. It is a very insightful chapter. I'm going to start off by saying there is a lot of misconception of who the creator is. And for me, I paused many times and have to pinch myself many times asking, what is the creator? Because clearly, what is the creator is what we're trying to uncover in this book. Chapter 17 gives us another depth of understanding of how to reach that point where we begin to have a relationship with the creator. Clearly, the creator is not a physical being. So when we talk about movements, we cannot walk towards the creator with our physical feet. Nor can we lift our hands and say we're going to touch the creator. But the creator is clearly, we can sense the creator using the pathway that Dr. Michael Laitman has given us in this chapter, which is to pay close attention to our desires and how we move from the egoistic desires to the pure desires. Because it is this inner shift that takes us towards the creator or away from the creator. And until we recognize that there has to be this sensitivity that at every point in time, we are in contact with the creator. Whether we like it or not, we could be in a positive contact with the creator or in a negative contact with the creator, depending on how we're responding to life's event. So chapter 17 really is how to walk towards the creator or walk away from the creator. But in this book, this chapter is like to show us how to walk towards the creator. But equally, it gives us the warning sign that if you think about yourself and about yourself only, you are walking away from the creator. You can never sense the creator doing so. So I'm going to hand you over to Francis. Francis, what have you got to say about this chapter?
Yeah, what you said is very profound, Sheila. So, as you said, one may think of taking steps. Maybe usually they're represented by stairs that go upwards. Walk up, 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 and go to the Creator. But as you're saying, this is an internal job. It's something that happens within us, within our inner qualities and properties. And so I will cap it by a sentence here that Dr. Laitman have written. He said, thus the path we are trying to understand is a gradual alteration of our inner qualities, our desires. Because as you said, in the spiritual, if two objects are close, it doesn't mean like physical, we measure distance. It's not like in the physical world where we measure distance by a ruler or a scale or something. Here we're talking about similarity in qualities, in the properties within the objects. And so for me or for us to walk towards the Creator, it means that He's giving us incentives, opportunities for the qualities and properties and desires within us to change, from what I am created to be, egoism, to become similar to what He is, which is pure giving, pure bestowal, altruism. So it's an internal job, and it's an internal job, and it's an internal job. And that is very much impressive. Delis?
Yay, Francis. I'm actually third now in line. Yay, not too so. Woohoo! I was getting anxious about what I would say. Um, the theme of the chapter, merging with the Creator, really kind of is a beautiful word, merging. It's becoming one with the Creator, it's moving towards the Creator. And it caught my eye that the entire chapter is about a path to follow towards the Creator. And on many, when you go on a path, there's certain pointers to lead you in the right direction. But because we are made of our five senses, it's pretty difficult, we feel, to know which way to turn, because the five senses, all it wants to show us is pleasure or pain. So we have to develop something else, and we've touched on that in the other chapters of the study and so forth, all those different components. But here in this chapter, it speaks of um, being aware of our feelings, noting our feelings, and that our feelings can help us to direct us in the right direction. We've touched on pleasure and pain. And so when we feel distant from the Creator, we might experience that as some form of suffering. We must know that we're always in a relationship with the Creator, whether we are distant or not. So sometimes we are still in a relationship with the Creator, even though we don't feel Him at all. And at other times, as we draw closer to Him, we might experience feelings of joy because we've set our intention to be like the Creator, and that intention is to want to be a vessel of bestowal, want to be someone that can give to others, which is opposite of the egoism. So this process that we have to follow is really a matter of us observing ourselves constantly as we ebb and flow on this path towards the Creator. Yes, Thuso.
Thanks, Delis. So, in a nutshell, we merge with the Creator by walking towards Him, and we walk towards Him by changing our inner qualities. That's what all that you have said. So, we learn in this chapter that the distance between us and the Creator, or between two objects, is determined by the form of which the objects look. At the moment, the Creator is 100% bestowing, giving, selfless, and at the moment we are opposite from that quality. So now, in order to walk to Him, nowadays we could take a private jet or a jet or a rocket to get to Him if it was a matter of a distance as we measure it on earth. But the distance in spirituality is measured only by qualities that are the same or different. The If the qualities are different, we can be as far from the east as it is from the west. But if the qualities are exactly the same, it doesn't matter the corporeal distance, we can be one. So all that this chapter is really giving us, it's showing us that here is the path that we need to follow. And as we go down in the chapter, it speaks of two paths: the path of Kabbalah, where we voluntarily change our inner qualities to be likened to Him so that we can be close to Him, or else the second path called the path of suffering. If we don't do it and just continue on with life as we have been for thousands of years, nature will force us to go. You know, our nature, we only pray when we feel pain or suffering. But when I'm in joy and I'm happy, I forget about praying. So it's really great chapter, and I really hope you enjoying it. If you have not yet read it, please read it and share it with someone else next to you. Share your views with someone next to you, because it really speaks. It's sort of a beginning of how we can actually move out of all these problems and challenges we are facing in this world. So it's helping us in order to change our nature in the inside, as Francis has said, so that we can walk towards Him, as Sheila has said. So, yeah, and finally merge with Him, as Delis has said. Sheila?
Yes, it's always important that we break things down in a way that's even the most basic person in the street could understand it. And for me, I struggle to do that here because words cannot express what I'm feeling when I was reading this. I wrote quite a few things, but I read them, it didn't make sense. I could feel what Dr. Lightman read than I can verbalize. I can feel and sense what he actually was is expressing in this chapter than I can actually put in words. Eventually, I reached the conclusion that let's take an example of what we go through in normal life. Every day we are going to be faced with situations where we will feel angry or upset or not in agreement with what's going on around us. And this is exactly where we start in our spiritual walk. And this chapter actually says that everything that comes from the Creator. And the Creator is the one that gives us the good desires and the negative desires. But the purpose for giving them to us is to do something very unique, to shift from the negative feelings, and therefore emotions become very, very important to shift that emotion that we have initially, that the desire is saying, why is this happening to me? Why is this person doing this to me? Or why me? Well, all of these to shift it to a point where the desires and the feelings become pure. Because until we get to that pure state, we cannot sense the desire, the creator. We can't, and this, it's almost, to me, it's like the whole concept here is about no matter what is given to you, it is good. And it's good to the extent that you know what to do with it. If you don't know what to do with it, then it's like having a bomb in your hand that's going to explode. But if you know what to do with it, then it's about taking the time to process it, to shift from the egoistic desires to the point where you begin to get, let's go of all the thoughts, let's go of all the agitation, and then let's say a point where you begin to sense there is something bigger than you. And at that point, I like the way Delise always use this word joy. You begin to trust that there is something bigger than you. And then you begin to let go even more because you begin to sense that there is a creator indeed. And then joy becomes. But then he also said, it doesn't stop there because at some point it fades out and then you shift to another level. And I want to give it to you to say something about that.
Yeah, so it's like you make it very practical, very down to earth, which is really helpful. So because every human being is going through something. Every human being, every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the street is going through something. So it becomes very applicable because we are all asking why this and why that. He did this to me, that one did this to me. But if we only know that this is only being dished out by only one hand and nobody else, then that takes a lot of the burden away, definitely. Delis, do you have something to say?
Well, no, I don't think there's much to add except this word joy came up again. And isn't it joyful to know that you're in a relationship with a creator? You might not know the whole picture, but you've at least started on the journey towards discovering what makes you tick and be able to hopefully extend yourself and see a wider sense of reality. Thuso?
What I can say is that don't only stop in chapter 17, continue with the rest of the book. So when we come together like this, it will be a revision for you. Sheila?
Yes, revision. Because it's for me, it's not a revision. It's like a continuation. This is. I hope you take it as one of those tools for life. Because for me, when I went through this, I thought to myself, a lot of people suffer all sort of mental illness. And I remembered myself once suffered mentally with depression and anxiety and things like that. And I recognized that actually this could have saved my life if I'd known what to do with those thoughts, what to do with those events that I had at the time. So for me, remember when we started, I said, what was your impression about this? For me, I just said, awesome. Awesome because I know for sure this in the hands of someone who knows how to use it can save their lives. Because a lot of the war and the problems we have in our personal lives and with emotions and all sorts of mental problems, it's because we don't know we are in a relationship with the Creator. Because we don't know how to be in a relationship with the Creator. And we're fighting a system that we are oblivious to. So with that, I hope you get something from today's review and see you. Well, we're not going to probably meet next week, the week after next, because we have event next week. See you all the week after next. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you
Have
so
a
much.
wonderful
Bye.
weekend.
Take care.